Welcome to Life Coaches Unfiltered, where Desiree, Doree, and Michelle, three life coaches, are here to answer the questions you have, but we're afraid to ask. No fluff, no filters, just real talk to help you navigate life's big challenges. Let's dive in.
Hello.
We are back for season three of Life Coaches Unfiltered. Today, we're going to talk about goal setting, and Michelle and I have some thoughts about this. Doree, I told Doree she could be Switzerland. But before we jump into that, it's just after New Year's. We're recording this. I just want to check in. How was y'all's New Year's?
Well, hold on a minute. We've had a whole month off.
I know we have. But if we talk about our whole month, people are going to be like, this is a
Nah,
2 hour
we're not talking
episode.
about a whole month, but I did miss y'all.
I
Miss
did.
you too.
Did miss
I
this.
missed you so much.
Even
But
though
it was
we
good
saw,
to rest because Christmas and New Year's, I mean, Christmas was good, relaxing, didn't have to cook, so that was great. And New Year's, I was on my couch. Even though I had a party to go to, I didn't end up going because I was just tired. So I'm just like, I'm listening to my body. So that was me.
I
Doree
was
Ritchie.
fighting this thing the entire time. So if I sound different, this is why. I'm turning into Barry White, everybody. Hello. So
She's
glad
Like
to
the
be here.
music.
That's what I did. I was somebody was like, "Hello, baby. How you been?"
The crud is going around that like everybody's sick right now, and I'm like, I'm just gonna stay home and not do anything. Although I did go to a burning bowl thing on New Year's Eve, which is a cool little tradition um at this church around the corner from my house. It's kind of like a new age church.
Hmm.
And you burn like the things that you want to release, and then you write a letter to
Oh,
yourself in a year, and then they mail it to you. And I was like,
oh,
I didn't get my letter from last year. Oh yeah, I got my letter. It's just in my mail pile. I had to go dig through it. But yeah. Anyway,
that's
I
cool.
was out of town for a week, like I got a pile of mail. I was like, this is a bunch of crap. But no, there was my letter. So it's really kind of interesting. Interesting little concept. There's websites where you can send yourself a future email, like your future self an email. Anyway, we'll drop that in the comments. I'll find it. But if you want to do that, for that might be a great segue into goal setting. Like
I
if
was
you've
going
got
to
some
say this
goals.
is a perfect segue.
Yeah. All right, Michelle. So I'm going to turn it over to you. This was your idea for not to put you on the spot, but you're like, let's talk about goal setting. I have thoughts about goals. We'll get to that in a minute, but I'm going to turn it over to you and let you talk about.
So I mean, if you look around my like office, there are so many like flip chart papers of goals and stuff that I put up and I visually see them. So, but me personally, I like to do goal setting. It kind of clarifies what I'm gonna look to do during the year. I know goal setting can be one of those things of, oh, I don't want to set goals or New Year's resolutions and la la la. And then by the time middle of January, people are just pissed off with already creating their goals and they haven't achieved it. And then they're just like, ah, well, just fuck it. So, I mean, so I think there can be some good things about it. Yes, there can be some bad things about it, and there can be some ugly pieces about it. But I think depending on how you go about it and what works for you, because everyone is different, um, I still think that people can achieve what they want to achieve. But again, it just depends on how people work and what they need to do. And I do a little workshop. We'll talk about that at the end, but people like to make these big, arduous goals, and then it's just like, all right, then what are you going to do with them? And then when they don't achieve them, again, that's where people just go. And so I have I think it's good because it helps me keep on track. But when I'm setting goals, they are not that big. They do not need to be big
So
because
bite-sized pieces.
that would drive, yes, because that would drive me crazy. That would drive me crazy. So, yeah, again, it's not for everyone, but for the people who it is and people who say, oh, I can never achieve them, then I think we just need to kind of talk about it.
Doree, how do you feel about goals?
I have a mixed bag about them myself. I think, I heard something once that was a a dream without a plan is just a wish. And I get it. I also know of how, for my own personal life, how setting quote goals, especially New Year's resolutions. I mean, because this is where we're talking, we're at the new year, um, setting New Year's resolutions and how it can be so damaging in some ways when you don't have, when you set the lofty goal. And, being in the hypnotherapy field, this is my season, y'all. But it's really, you think about the things people that are wanting to do at the beginning of the year is lose weight, quit something like drinking or smoking. And those are big things. Those are things that a lot of times you've had relationships with food and things like that your entire life. Or if
Hmm.
you've been smoking or something like that, if you were like me, and I'm not smoking now, even though it sounds like I've been smoking a carton. Um, I smoked from the time I was 15 until I was 40, 40-ish. Um, and I expected it to happen overnight
Hmm.
because I remember, sorry, sidetrack real quick. I remember one New Year's Eve throwing an entire pack of cigarettes in a bonfire. I was at a party. And I threw the entire pack of cigarettes into the bonfire and went, that's it. I am my New Year's resolution, my goal, if you were, is to actually, I'm going to change that. Hold on. I threw it in and I said, that's it. And then, like an hour later, I'm trying to bum cigarettes off of people at the bonfire. But here's where Michelle, and I'm playing Switzerland today, y'all. So, by the way, I'm going to be very wishy-washy during this entire episode. But I see where Michelle, you know what? There's a difference between having a resolution and having a plan, a goal with a plan, and having something that is manageable and bite-sized in a way that you can absolutely do something versus saying, I'm going to lose 40 pounds this year and not having anything. First of all, 40 pounds is so like overwhelming. So, so anyway, I say that to say, yes, I think that goals are important. I think that we wouldn't be where we are today if we did not have goals in our life. We wouldn't be doing a podcast if we
Nope.
didn't have goals in our life. And I will tell you, consistency is not one of my big things. In fact, I should probably have a goal to be more consistent. But Michelle, you're gonna have to help me with that. But that's it. That's the thing with it is that, it's just, I think we sometimes, like you said, set things so high without a plan in place, so unreasonable. And then we come down so hard on ourselves when we
Hmm.
don't do it. And that's where I have the problem with it is that it becomes a thing of where it decreases your self-value because you've set this thing and you didn't reach it and you beat yourself up. That's where I have an issue. Desiree,
Come on,
shut up, y'all.
Desiree.
All right.
Oh.
So y'all have been sitting here so patiently waiting to share my. So I had all these freaking goals, but like the last, I jokingly refer to it as the decade of doom because there's so much change in my life. Like I would get up, I got divorced and I was like, I'm gonna take on the world. And I went ziplining for my 40th birthday and I had all these effing plans. And then life happened and my mom gets diagnosed with ALS. And then I was like, okay, like I was moving towards my goals and dreams. Well, and we'll talk about goals and dreams and we might touch on that a little bit. But like it all was trash. And then I would get back up and I would be like, okay, my mom is gone. And then the freaking pandemic happened. And so like at some point I was just like, goals are trash. It's not like the perspective that I want to bring is if you're in this season of just life coming at you and just smacking you upside the head all the time, like you might get frustrated with trying to set goals because when you're in grief or like when major things are happening, you think that you're functioning at 100%, but it took me a minute to get back on my feet. And I still don't feel like I'm completely there yet. Um, Changing careers, don't recommend doing that in this season of change. It's a lot freaking harder. Starting a business is very hard. And so I've struggled personally with goal setting because it feels in some ways like a bunch of bullshit. It's like, well, I can have a plan and then life is going to life. And so how do we roll with that? And I think that's where I'm coming from, like from personal experience. And then part of me is like, well, how much is this excuse making? But a lot of it is just figuring shit out. And like that takes time when you're doing something new. So like just tempering the goal conversation of like, if you're in this season of uncertainty or a lot of massive change, to like maybe dial back and do the bitty goals, the little Halloween candy size candy bar goals instead of, instead of trying to conquer the world and do all the things. So yeah, that's my perspective on it, because I'm struggling like with the whole idea of goals, because I think and that's just my personal experience. I'm not trying to, not everybody has had this chaotic era. Anyway, yeah. What are your
But that's
thoughts
a
on
good
that?
point, though. That's a good point, though, is that life still comes at you, even when you've got these ideas. Of, my idea of where my I thought my life was going to be 2 years ago is so different than where it is today. My idea of where I thought it was going to be this time. Back up. Let me rephrase that. Where I thought I was going to be this time this year, last year, is different than where it wanted. I thought it was going to be. I think that that's part of the go with the flow piece of this too. Is that it's Michelle's our expert on the goals and that sort of thing. But I will tell you, the one thing that makes me want to puke is the setting smart goals. I hate that word. I can't stand like the whole measurable blah, blah, blah stuff. It takes all of the like, I anyway, that's just you've got to be flexible and be it goes back to the self having this like care for yourself too that goes, life happens and that sort of thing, and also being able to discern though, are you derailing your own goals, are
Mhm.
you getting and self-sabotaging your own way? I know with like food, that's a whole different thing, right? And self-sabotage with food is a thing. So it's, and we could talk about that, if we were talking about that, I can talk about that. That's been like a life story, but I think that that's the piece of this, that's just being gentle with yourself is so important. Shell.
No, I mean everything that you guys are saying, I think are valid. I mean, me, the smart thing, I'm just kind of like, I'm with you. I'm with you on that, Dory. I'm just kind of like, all right, measurable, smart, specific, measurable, achievable, relatable, time, and all that stuff. I try not to focus on that acronym, but when I'm helping my clients with their goals, I am like we are breaking them down piece by piece. And it's okay if you don't achieve everything, because people will put again that pressure on themselves that I've got to achieve everything on this list. And it's just like, no, you don't have to, but let's put like brick by brick of what you're going to do to achieve. So if you're going to lose the 40 pounds, okay, what's the first thing that you want to do? Like, is it the fact that you need to go and research Weight Watchers? I mean, that's how small we're talking. Not to the point of I'm going to go and starve myself, or I'm going to I'm going to go on a calorie restricted diet. It's the small piece of I'm going to sign up for Weight Watchers, or I'm going to do some research on Weight Watchers. That's a small goal. Um, and people, I don't think people realize that's how small we need to get, because that's not overwhelming. That's not overwhelming. Overwhelming is, yeah, I'm going to start a 1500 calorie diet and I've got to track myself. And then, I've got to drink this amount of water. That's a lot of pressure. We can build up to that eventually, but, small. And once that's done, you can check it off. And I'm sure just doing the research or Weight Watchers, you kind of feel like you've achieved something, even though it's small. People don't like to celebrate the small things.
Yeah.
So
It's got to be big, and it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be big. You can celebrate the small.
I have a question
Yeah.
for you. Because like if I set small goals like that, then I'll spend 15 hours researching something. And so how do you make sure that you don't get into analysis paralysis? Like what guidance do you give
Oh
to people?
gosh. So I would, me personally, because I can also go down a rabbit hole. I can go down a rabbit hole. I would set a timer. I would time manage, okay, I'm going to spend this amount of time researching this goal. And again, if you're a person who's a perfectionist, you have to be realistic with yourself and give yourself time. Because time management, I think, is very important. And again, I think it helps with the analysis paralysis if you can obviously train yourself to do that, which takes time. But give yourself a certain period of time. So yes, we are using the time piece on the smart, but just doing the research, not giving yourself time on when you've got to do it, unless you're that type of person. It's like, I need you to kind of give me a deadline. Okay. Because that's where some people need accountability as well, just to kind of help them along. And it may be a good, a best friend. And, like us, we kind of keep ourselves accountable, with our podcast. And it's like, all right, we're recording and let's put it on the calendar and so forth. So, there are lots of kind of other things and tools that you can use to kind of help you. And again, it just depends on what you need. It really
Mm.
does. It really does. But I would say time blocking for the analysis paralysis.
One what
Or do it with a friend. And
like
then you
sit
guys can, be with each other and it's like, all right, we're done. If you've got a friend who's very good at timekeeping, then maybe get them to help you.
So one thing that I struggled with when I'm doing something new, like i.e. building a business, it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, you have all these goals. Like you get a coach and it's like, what are your goals for the next 90 days? And I'm like, I don't even like at one point I was like, I don't even know how to get to the outcome that I want to have. Like I don't even know the inputs that are going to, like, people would be like, what's gonna move the needle for you?
Right.
Um, I'm like, I'm gonna jab the needle in your friggin' foot. No, anyway, when I get frustrated about goal setting, how does it really feel about that? But yeah, I'm like, I don't know what's going to move the needle, right? So like one thing that kind of dawned on me, and I probably heard this somewhere, I don't know, and like, but like focus, like look at what activities are you doing and track the activities
Mm,
instead of the outcome. And then if you like one thing, okay, I don't like the SMART goal thing either, but I do love data. Like that is nerdy, Desi, coming up, and it's like I like to see what my read rate is on, my open rate on emails, and like like looking at stats. Like you guys have seen my little podcast stats spreadsheet.
trust me,
Um,
she is our statistician right now.
We
Wow.
love it.
listen, it could be way more verbose, but I'm like, how much time am I going to sink into this? But yeah, like I like look at your effort goals, and then if you don't meet your outcome goals, then you can at least see that you haven't been sitting on the couch eating Oreos for 3 months. So it helps you kind of um keep a level head about it, of like, I have been trying. I tried
And,
these things, and maybe this is pointing me to a different route.
and as you
Yeah.
guys said, life happens. Life be life in.
Mhm.
And so you do have to kind of also give yourself grace
Yes.
because, I know with some of my business goals, I was just like, all right, I want to have like 10 clients before, July. And I had like six. I didn't get to 10, but I got six. So I got to be happy with that because zero is better than, zero is better than that, sorry, six is better than zero. And so I made my way. So again, people need to not give themselves a hard time if they don't reach the finish line by the date that they maybe set, because it may be the fact that you just need a bit more time. And then life has been lifing, and there's been some, and I like to say there's been a spanner in the works, or you guys say the wrench or a wrench in or whatever. I say spanner. Um, um, but it just still doesn't mean that you can't still keep on going. You just can just extend the time a little bit.
Yeah. I always have this thing too, like, we have, I work with a lot of people that have and I can relate to them 100%, this all or nothing mentality
Hmm.
of either I'm on or I'm off. And there's no gray area in between. And, when getting sober, one of the things that someone said, was like, look, it can't, people mess up and mess up. I'm going to say mess up. It's, people derail themselves or things happen and that sort of thing. And it doesn't have to be too that you wait until Monday. Well, I don't know why Monday is always like this big thing. I'm going to start over again on Monday. All right, I'm going to start over on Monday. What would happen if, like, let's just say this morning, my goal was to eat a high protein breakfast? That's my goal as part of my, there we go, as part of my, like, my goals for myself for the year. I'm going to do high protein. And I don't do it. Do I just now go, okay, it's Monday, I'm going to wait till next Monday to get started? Or can I just say, that's fine, then I'm going to have a high protein snack? And it's about being able to, like, moment by moment, resetting yourself to say, okay, I may have had a brownie for breakfast, which are really good. I may have had a brownie for breakfast, but can I now have a nourishing lunch? Instead of just going, I've effed up. See, that's the Doree. Say it for me, Michelle. I've what?
Fucked up. Translate in English.
Instead of saying that, so I think that goes into like the goal thing too, of just being more gentle with yourself and just knowing that you can reset
Mm.
throughout the day, and it's and the big thing too, like, I talk about this, my sobriety, a lot, but progress, not perfection. And being able to just go, hey, I may not have been perfect today on what my goals were, but did I do anything that was
Mm.
toward that goal?
Mhm.
Anything. And and I can celebrate that win, and then just go, tomorrow will be tomorrow could be a better day.
Yeah.
Like the small habits. Those goals are made in moments of choice,
Yeah.
especially when you're talking about food. It's, like I could have a plan. Like I love when I go to the grocery store and I buy all this crap to make salads, and then
Crap.
I'm on my way home from the grocery store and I'm like, Zaxby's looks really cute. Yeah, I could go for some chicken tenders, and and then I'm like, I'm starving. And then I'm like, I just bought a whole thing to make salads, and then it's like some days I'm like, oh, it's just the effort of cutting up all the things. Like, but in those moments, it's made in those small moments of I'm gonna drive past the thing and go home and make myself a salad. Like it's a constant habit change and a
Mhm.
shift.
And habits, it takes a long time to change habits. And
Yes.
again, as you said, I feel people's like it's all or nothing. Like this habit is going to change today. No, it ain't. I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, you need to give yourself time. I mean, I'm just trying to think of a habit that I'm trying to get rid of. Bring my phone to my bedroom.
Right.
It's a bad habit. It's a bad habit. Now I don't look at it. I just plug it in and I use it as my alarm. But then sometimes I'll use it to meditate to go to bed and stuff like that. Whereas my husband's like, leave the phone outside the bedroom. And it's hard because I'm just like I've got an elderly dad and he's 90, and what happens if someone calls me and tells me, the news. So that's why I'm kind of like thinking I need to have my phone by my bed. But I'm kind of like, no, I need to get out of that habit, or the habit of getting off my phone at a certain period of time at night so then I can go to sleep. This is
Yeah.
hard because I'm constantly on my laptop and my phone. And, me and my husband are trying to make a pact like we need to get off our phones by like 8:30. And then 9 o'clock, we're like, get off our phones, get off. So again, it take it that ha you know, habits are it takes time. It really takes time, and you do have to be intentional and remind yourself. Maybe I need to stick a reminder in my phone or on my laptop,
Yes.
like shut your shit down.
A
Um,
habit is something that you've done over and over
yeah.
again until it becomes automatic behavior. It becomes a behavior. And that is the key to this is that I think a lot of people forget that you didn't get this way overnight and it change takes time and like you said you have to be intentional because automatic behavior will kick in and automatic overdrive will go in and the next thing you know you're eating a donut in front
In
of
the
the
Christmas
refrigerator
season.
trying to decide if you want to put peanut butter and Nutella on it. It's like you just, I'm sorry, y'all. If everybody, if I'm triggering people that are listening and are trying to eat healthy, I apologize. But you didn't get this way. It didn't happen overnight. It takes time. Even with hypnotherapy, I tell clients, it still takes time. It's fast, it's faster, but it still takes time.
And one thing that I'll say is if you're learning something completely new, like I remember when I started CrossFit years ago, I felt like a complete like so spastic when I was doing, burpees and I was like this movement is just feels foreign in my body. And so if you're doing something new, be it starting a business, starting a workout, it's going to feel wonky at first, but you're learning. And so like just doing the thing is going to teach you more, even if you don't meet the goal. Like Michelle said, she could look at those 6 clients that she got in that month where she said, I'm going to get 10 and look at her results and be like, what got me those 6 clients? And then she can do more of that next time. So sometimes it's not necessarily about meeting the goal. It's about furthering your education because you're learning something new. And so that's one kind of takeaway that I've turned like in this whole career change. It's like, okay, didn't meet the goal, but what have I learned?
Trust me, opening up a business, you learn a lot. And you're still learning.
Yeah.
And by the way, I hate burpees. There's one exercise I cannot stand.
Burpees? Oh, I hate
Burpees,
burpees.
I can't stand them.
I
Can't
hate,
stand them.
even the name sounds disgusting. Come on. Who's
So
going to name
sorry.
it a
I will,
burp? It's,
I will not be putting those on my goals for this year.
Really?
you know what? I think we should all just agree we're going to do a burpee this year. Just one.
A
No, no.
burpee.
One burpee
So
this year.
when I was in yoga teacher training, it was a vinyasa studio where I trained, and they do a lot of sun salutations in vinyasa studios. And I was like, these are yoga burpees. If you
They're,
think
they're,
about
they're
it,
glorified
Yoga.
burpees.
yeah, it's a yoga burpee. Like I was like, up, down, up, down. It's the same. I was like, geez, Louise. Anyway, it's
About
more
that.
graceful than the CrossFit burpee, but yeah, the whole 108 sun salutations that people do with like, I was just like, y'all are just doing 108 burpees. It's just a little bit slower and more graceful and pretty. Anyway,
That's so funny.
and
That's very funny.
just a sidebar on how Desi's wacky freaking brain works.
So let me ask you guys, this is not the uncomfortable question. So are you gonna set any goals for this year with your businesses?
I think we have to. Like I, I have to because I
Okay.
have people in my life that are making me do it. Um,
Wonder who that might be.
it's not you.
Oh, okay, good. I'm just
Um,
making sure.
I'm sorry. I mean, yeah, no, I am trying to get better at it because I realize that my own thought process around goal settings being trash is not helpful for me in goal setting.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but no, I need to set goals and I need to do a better job of tracking effort and outcomes. So I don't see any way around it, unfortunately. I just have to figure out how to get it to satisfy my little data nerd. And then I'll be like, I need to do the thing so that I can get the data. So recognizing that I'm a data nerd. And so I've got to collect data around my goals. And that's what motivates me. Doree, what about you?
I for I've got to become more. I am a data nerd, which is interesting, except for when it comes to my business, I kind of have been just kind of like, let me just see how this goes, type of thing. And then just, I more, I think, we talked about talking about this. I always set a word instead of like a goal. I always do a word, and intentional was going to be my word for this year. And just being more intentional about my business and tracking things and being more consistent about looking at, like, did that work? Did this, is this working for me? What's not working for me? And stop doing the same things over and over again that aren't working for me when it comes to my business. And having, just having some real financial goals around it as well.
I love the fact that you talked about a word because I love having a word for the year. And I don't know how I picked I think mine just came in because normally it takes me a while to pick my word sometimes. But the word that came to mind for me for this year already on day 2 of January was alignment. I need, thinking about my business, thinking about my body. I need everything to be in alignment. And kind of like, 2025 was an all right year. It had its ups and downs, but I'm like, I need a bit more alignment. And I'm owning that word this year because, I'm refining things in my coaching business and I want everything to be aligned.
Mhm.
Um, Again with my body because, had some issues with perimenopause and I'm trying to align my body now with HRT and all that stuff. So, yeah, I love having that word because just I can just kind of go back to it and think, all right, what have I done that I've kept myself on this, on this word. So I do like that. I do like that.
I haven't done
I
my
like that.
word yet. I don't know. I definitely have a goal of getting my ass back on my yoga mat because I feel more grounded. Like I was walking the dog this morning and I was like, I haven't spent time outside on my deck. And like I haven't in the past year, like I've just been so focused on go, go, go that I would like to have more time to actually enjoy my friggin' life.
Maybe
Um,
grounded is your word.
mm, I'm gonna maybe. Damn, Dory, popping in here with all this wisdom.
He is Switzerland, remember?
Switzerland today. This is fun. I love playing both sides. Can I do this all the time?
He is Switzerland, remember? So
I'm by nature a people pleaser, which means I'm wishy-washy anyway. So just like,
Oh my
I
God.
don't know. What do you like?
Hmm. No,
that's
but
so
maybe
fun.
I'll go sit my ass on my yoga mat and contemplate grounded. My sister had this really cool idea. She was like, back when the winter solstice happened on the 21st, she was like, I saw this thing where you write down 13 intentions and then you mix them up on slips of paper and then on separate slips of paper and then every night you burn one, but you don't look at it before you burn it. You just pop it out, right? You just grab it out of the little jar and you burn one. And then on the like after you burn 12, then you look at the one that's remaining and that's your intention for the year. And I was like, that's kind of fun.
That sounds awesome.
I maybe
I'm
we
doing
should do
that.
that. Are you serious? Okay,
I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Yes.
we should we should start a text thread about this. Maybe put a Google Doc together.
That
Um,
sounds awesome. I like that because you
I
don't know what it's going to be. I like that.
it is putting it in the hands of the universe to
Yes.
decide what your intention should be. And so then I start, in the over planning, I was like, well, I need to Google what an intention is. And I'm like, why are we overthinking this, Desiree? Just write some shit down on a paper and then cut it up and burn stuff. And so, yeah, anyway. Mm.
I
Izzy.
love this because,
Ah,
I think that goes back into this whole thing as well about we sometimes, and when I was trained to be a hypnotherapist, um, one of the things that I learned was that, a client will come in and they have this like, why are you here? What is it you want? I want to lose weight. I want to quit smoking. I want to stop drinking. I want to start saving money. All of these, things. I want to be a better singer. All these things. You can only work at one at a time
Hmm.
because that's the way the mind works. One, maybe two, maybe two. But that's the way the mind works. And I think that that's the other thing with the goal setting and the intentions. If you were like what you just said, Desiree, this falls into alignment with that, is that choosing one thing, get good at one thing. Last year, I was like, mine is going to be health and getting more speaking engagements. You know what? The health thing took such a higher priority in my life and focus that I had to be okay with just going, that needs to go on the shelf for right now. And this has to be my focus, which by the way, y'all, I lost 45 pounds last year. Um, so, but it had to become a focus of everything. And I had to make decisions from the person who was making healthy choices in life. Could I eat a donut for breakfast? Yes. But when I had to take the moment to think about, like, is this getting me toward my goals? It becomes more of an easier, like, the intention behind the things that I was doing for my health was very, very important. And y'all, I also had help. So I'm not gonna just say this was all a Dory thing. I did GLP too. So, but that was a decision for me, and that was a conversation I had with my doctor to get me toward my health. But it had to become the thing. So I think that that's the other thing too, is a lot of people set goals of just like, I'm going to just improve my life overall. Sometimes, like you said, Desiree, life gets in the way and you have to just make a decision about what is the number one priority. Well, because I am now healthier and I have, well, not today, but normally I'm very I'm healthier. I have more energy. I feel good about myself. That's going to help me to land more speaking engagements.
Hmm.
So it is a process and is it on my time of when I want it. Hell, y'all, I would have been already on stages 6 years ago, but that was not the time that it needed to happen. So anyway, I'm
I
talking a
just
lot
have to
today. Sorry.
I have to point out that you're creating a foundation, I think, that is going to lead you to these speaking engagements. And you've had a speaking engagement every other week, Doree,
Yes.
on this damn
Yes.
podcast. And so the stage might not look the same, right? But
That's
it's
right. That's
also
right.
like we love this podcast. And like going back to this sustainable goal thing, like I remember when we were talking about this, and it was like, how do we set this up so that it's sustainable for us to keep going? And in the podcast groups that I'm in on Facebook and stuff, people are asking, like, what's your recording schedule? And I'm like, this is our schedule. And we work in sprints of 10. And then we give ourselves the opportunity to take time off. And so it's sustainable for us. And
Mhm.
even though we're not ending the year with 150 podcasts recorded, you know what? We're not burned out on podcasting. And who the hell has time to consume all of that content? Like, I know that we are your favorite podcast, wink, wink, but you can't have us every week. I mean, it's kind of like the specialty ice cream. Like you get us every other week, and then sometimes you get a month off from like our brilliance. And it's okay because
I
then
love
we're
it.
more delicious when we are out there waiting for you to listen to an episode. So anyway, like find what works for you. And like it might not look like Doree wants to be on like physical stages holding a real deal microphone.
And
And
she's done it many of times.
so like you're getting there. Oh, you know what? You were on stages already.
Comedy.
Comedy, the comedy club.
Yes.
Hello.
I don't want to hear your trash talk about how you didn't meet your goal.
Yeah,
You had
exactly.
the courage.
Speaking engagement to get up on stage and to tell jokes. And I'm standing there, sitting there looking at you like, there's no way I could do that. There's no way I could do that. There's no way I could do that. And she's like, oh, it's so much fun. Hello, that's a speaking engagement.
Yeah.
Check.
Yeah.
Right, you're right. You're right. See, and okay, and there's the other thing for people listening to. Sometimes you need good friends to point out. how you've actually come closer to your goals than you expected.
Yeah.
So thank you, ladies. I love you.
God, we're getting all sappy and stuff. We need to get
I
back.
know.
We need a little bit more
Okay, let me
sass.
insult you now. Here we go.
I'm gonna jump on what you said, Dory, with regards to the one thing, and that is very important because even when with my clients, we go back and we look at their, six elements of wellness, and I said, all right, what is the most important one that you need to work on to start off? Because there's a chain reaction. When you start off with one, then the next one is gonna feel good and it's gonna relate to the first one, and then everything's kind of gonna go in a sequential order. And it's so funny because the majority of clients that I've worked with, it's either been their health or their occupation.
Mm,
Those are the two that have been the most important. And so again, for me, my occupation is very important because if I'm not happy at work, my physical wellness is trash. I'm eating sugar, I'm eating crappy food. I don't want to socialize, so there's my social aspect gone. I don't want to do anything. So I'm totally with you when you say focus on the one thing that is so important to you because that affects everything else that you need to do. So whenever you think about your goals, if you are wanting to do goals, think about the one that is going to be that catalyst for everything
mm,
else.
mhm.
Because in my again with my clients in my workshop, what is the number one goal that you need to, and then what's the next one, and then what's the next one? Because
Yeah, and it is amazing how it is like this thread that just kind of like,
yep.
it's funny how you hear some people say, I don't understand, like my work life is great, but my personal relationship is like crappy or whatever. But they do kind of like they tug at each other, and there's this way to like just kind of figuring out what is it you want to work on, and you'll find that things just start kind of like aligning
Mm-hmm.
into like this thing. I had a client who once came to me to quit vaping, and we were working together on all of these things because when you take something away, which I hate saying that, but you take something away, it has to be replaced with something else. There's a hole that's filled or whatever. So we started working on these different things and finding all these things that bring her joy and all this. And she goes, I'm a happier person all of a sudden. She wasn't fully quitting with the vape yet, but she's like, I'm finding that I'm happy. Like things aren't bothering me like they used to. I'm like, it's because you start working on these integral pieces that make up this thing. So, anyway, like I said, I'm chatty today.
I well,
I
when
have
we
missed
talk
talking.
yeah, she's like, I have all this stuff, all these words stored up and they have to get out. Oh, that's hilarious. So when we talk about alignment, I'm just thinking like Michelle. So imagine, so you have your six elements of wellness. Like I like to think in metaphors of like you got a car with six tires and you got one wobbly wheel, and it's just you trying to stay in your lane and you're like fighting it with the steering wheel, right? That makes sense to me. Of like you're trying to drive down the road with a wobbly wheel, and when you get your wobbly wheel fixed, then it's easier to keep the car in the lane.
Yes, ma'am, it
Mm,
is. I
Okay,
mean,
that's
I mean, people think, oh my God, it's so simple, but we don't think about that. And even when I started my life coaching and I was working with a life coach and she was just like, what's the most important thing to you? And I'm just kind of like, oh my God, it's my job. Well, it could actually flip-flop. It could either be the physical or the job, but both of those are the most important things to me. And if one of them derails, whew, I'm
yeah,
in trouble. I really am in trouble.
yeah, yeah.
So, and it's so funny when you work with the clients and they're like, "Oh my God, I did not realize like you just kind of go into that automatic pilot of like, oh, this is how it has to happen, and just kind of like, no, this you're telling me this, but really it's this. Like, this seems you keep on coming back to this piece of thing all the time. Like, this is important to you. I never realized. So again, we again, just like Dory, she needed us to tell her that she's had her speaking engagement. So she may, maybe you need those good people in your life to kind of tell you and help you along the way, because sometimes we just get in our own heads and we can't see the wood through the trees. Like we can't. We just can't.
Yeah.
That's why we have to have coaches.
Yeah. Which is a whole nother topic that Michelle was like, maybe we should have a whole episode on why coaches have
Need
coaches.
coaches.
And
Yes.
yeah, maybe if you guys want to hear about that, let us know because we are always interested in what you guys want to hear us talk about. All right, Michelle,
Hey,
you ready for the uncomfortable question?
yes, I feel like it's time. Ho, ho, ho,
Oh, here we
ho.
I
go.
don't like that laugh.
All
I know. It's just
right.
evil.
What goal are you avoiding? Because if you name it, you might fall. This is a good one. Good one. So what goal are you avoiding? Because if you name it, sorry, not fall, fail. Oh my gosh, can't read. And I've got my glasses on.
I think mine is the revenue goals for my business. But I mean, I've just been avoiding. I have some mindset work to do around revenue right now. And yeah, there's a lot. Oh, I hate setting those goals. Like I hate talking about money. And the interesting thing is money, like I was raised with this viewpoint from my dad that he was like, money is a renewable resource. You can always make more. And so I don't have this crap about like, we talk about how what our parents said to us about money when we were kids, like being a, a a big blocker for people. Well, I have a really good thank you for implanting that in me, to my father of like he was a serial entrepreneur. So he did a lot, like he always had a new business and he was really good. And I'm like, I'll just have to figure out my best way to monetize all the fun things that I'm doing that I enjoy. And so mine is probably related to I just don't yeah. The other thing is probably my physical stuff. So going back to Michelle of the bit, like when you talk about job, to me, that relates to income, which is very directly correlated to our sense of security in the world because we live in a capitalist society. How you feel about that does not friggin' matter right now because people want to be paid in dollar bills. And
Oh,
our health and our fitness, right? And like, yeah, somebody was like, why didn't you go hiking yesterday with your friend? And I'm like, because I am not in shape to hike right now. And I do not want that thrown in my face on the first day of the year. And so those are probably my two that I'm like, yeah, I don't, but I recognize that when I get out there on the trail, it's going to suck for the first couple days, but it gets easier.
it does.
So those are kind of the things that I'm probably like, meh. And it goes back to what you're talking about with health and job.
Yeah.
Those wheels are wonky on my car, Michelle.
It's the same story for me every year. It's consistency. I think, for me, it's about like I love to write. I absolutely love to write. In fact, I started writing again after Ken passed away. One of my friends was like, "You got to start putting this down because a year from now, you're not going to remember how this felt, not fully remember how this felt." So I think for myself, and so when Ken passed, I kind of just shut off that part of my life. If you go on my social media, y'all, I don't post a lot on social. And I used to be very like, I love to write. I love to create like these pieces of content that was about like, this is what I've been through and this is what I learned from it and that kind of thing. And so I just allowed that to become like my excuse to be not consistent for like showing up on social media. So I think that for me is the big thing that I want to work on this year. I guess that goes with my intentional is being more intentional about putting things out there so that people can start learning I'm not the same Doree I was 2 years ago. And who am I now? And just sort of reintroduce myself and be able to express myself.
All right,
Oh,
Michelle,
yeah.
you can't avoid your own uncomfortable question any
I
longer.
know, I know. So I think this is a big one, and I'm being very vulnerable here. Obviously, I want to get my business going. Like, I want to make it a full-time job. And just letting you, all these listeners out there, is hard. All right. It's hard running a business because some people have full-time jobs and, are trying to build up their business. And it's hard, depending on, I'm going to probably say, depending on what kind of industry you're going in. And coaching can be quite challenging. I mean, all of us know that it can be quite challenging. But it's not that I'm avoiding it, but I've been there before where I've kind of taken the plunge of, you know, decided to retire from teaching in the classroom and then open up a business, and then it just, derailed me because I was scared and I wasn't getting any money and going from a paycheck to no paycheck and hustling and all that stuff. And so in my mind, I'm kind of like, I think I always need a job. I always need a job. And I'm avoiding it because I'm looking for a job, but I don't really want a job. But I feel like I may fail doing this full time, and I don't want to fail because obviously our bills have got to get paid. And so I'm avoiding it but then I feel like the universe is right now telling me you need to just believe. And I'm saying, I want to believe, but I need you to send me some more signs for me to believe. So that's where I'm at. So I'm still looking for a job. Don't really want to have a job. But again, it's the security because again, we've got bills to pay, we've got mortgages to pay, and those don't stop. And we have to hustle for the money in businesses, and it can be stressful and overwhelming. Maybe another episode about talking about running a business. what people what people don't tell you because everyone, you look on social media and it's like, oh yeah, it's all sparkles and la 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 and you can earn millions. Wrong. Um so that's what I'm kind of avoiding, wanting to do this full time and still looking for the job, but I really want to do it full time. But again, there's that scared mentality of I got to pay bills.
So I have a perspective on that. Is it okay to share that?
Come on, bring it. As I said, I
When
was
you're
being,
okay, so I was interviewing for a job, and then between the first and second interview, I kind of decided like I don't think this is the right move for me. And I went in for the second interview, and I knew somebody on the hiring panel, and she was like, afterwards, she was like full disclosure, I could tell your first and second interview. And I was like, she's like, what's going on? Do you really want this job? And I was like, no, I don't think it's going to give me the flexibility I need. They can pick up if you are not 100% on board of like, I want to jump in this pool. And so, but your business, I have some business coaches and they are like, if you are not 120% committed to your goal of making this business successful, it's also going to show through in your effort. So like we got to pick a lane. We can't
I
be
know.
driving down the interstate like straddling the center line. And I say that because I need to hear that shit too, right? And sometimes that's what we do. Like it's like, well, so like try to figure out what lane you're going to pick for now and be fully committed to that. It's hard to quit the magical paycheck fairy.
Of
Oh my
course,
God.
that paycheck is that security, and it's kind of like, I got to put money in my 401k
Yeah.
because that is looking a little bit dismal right now. So, with all let's not go down that road. But
Okay.
but
Oh,
yes, so that's what I'm avoiding. So just being real, y'all. Just being real.
okay. Are y'all ready for quotes?
Oh yeah.
Thank you for being vulnerable, Michelle. It's
Well, I
refreshing.
feel like I feel like that's what our podcast is all about. We're being honest with our people, and you know, it's the first of 2000, second of, whenever we're recording. I don't even know what the date is, but we're in 2026. So I'm kind of like, Remember, I want alignment.
Yeah.
That's my word. Alignment.
No wonky wheels on your car.
No wonky wheels. And it's again related to my occupation because it's important.
Yes. All right.
So
Who's going to start us off with quotes?
I'll start.
Okay.
Um, if your goal makes you feel smaller, it's not a goal. It's a punishment. And
Mm.
that I would 100% agree with. Like it's a punishment. You should not make yourself small at all.
Damn, I
No.
really like that one.
No. No.
Wow.
Do you have one, Dory?
Desiree, what about you? You go.
Ah. So I like clarity often follows action, not the other way around. From the
Mm.
overthinking queen. Just start doing something. And, like we always joke, like our first four episodes, we don't have intro and outro. We just, and we're one take wonders. People are like, how do you make this sustainable? I'm like, we keep our mistakes in our episodes. They're not highly edited. Like, people are, yeah. So like we've gotten some clarity and changed our format of our show, but we got freaking started. Like people are like, "Oh my gosh, you can start a podcast." And people have been mulling around these ideas for like 3 months. You know what? Hit freaking record and start saying some
That's
stuff.
right.
Mhm.
So,
That's right.
get your car on the road. Stop driving around the go-kart track pretending that you're like in real life. No. Take that shit on the road. All right.
Dory, what's your quote?
I'm just gonna go back to the one that it's not fancy, it's progress, not perfection.
Yeah.
Just forgive yourself, be mindful, be mindful of if you're self-sabotaging, but also just know that you can't be perfect. We give you 110% permission to not be perfect today. We're giving ourselves permission to not be perfect. We are Life Coaches Unfiltered, and that's for the unfiltered is for a reason because we show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we are not perfect. And we love that and embrace that about ourselves and each other.
And we're sharing it with you.
Yeah, hell yeah. We got super vulnerable today. Yeah, we're not perfect. And you know what? Nobody is. Their social media might look perfect, but like we're all human beings. And being human,
I guarantee you that pretty girl on social media has 6 toes on one foot.
oh my God. Don't we really?
No, even the rich and famous have their issues. I mean, come on. We just don't
Everybody
see it,
has.
or we may read it in the tabloids or whatever, but they got their issues. They got their
They
shit.
don't show it. That's the thing is it's just not showing it.
Got
And
their shit.
so it's okay. It's okay.
And
Listen,
they
if I had somebody to do my hair and makeup, I'd probably look a whole lot better. Like
yes, so
I have just embraced my normalness and it's all good, right? And so like
oh,
we're all just people out here,
that's
people in.
so funny.
All right, Dory, what are we talking about in the next episode?
I don't know. I'm very, very worried about what we're going to be talking about. I'm very worried about the world. I have to make sure everything is in place so that I'm not going to be like so afraid that something bad's going to happen. It's hypervigilance. Um, right? That is the
Yeah,
episode, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Oh my
It's
God, her
like
hypervigilance just kicked in about hypervigilance.
That was
I
that
feel
was
attacked.
hilarious. That was hilarious.
Good one,
so
Dory.
yeah, that's our episode next. That our next episode is about hypervigilance, and I know a lot of people that are like this, and hopefully we can help a lot of people with our next episode when we talk about this. So
That shoe cannot drop. That shoe cannot drop.
I know. And then
And
we're
it does drop.
juggling
Oh my God.
shoes.
It's catastrophe. Yeah, catastrophe.
Yeah.
Can I talk about my goal setting?
Yes,
yes,
you may.
Thank you. When is it? February 1st. So it's a Sunday, and I think I'm going to do it in the afternoon. Because people can go to church or whatever and then have the afternoon. So get your kids like off with their fathers or whatever. Um, go out and play in the playground or whatever. So it's 2 hours. Okay, so we kind of go through a lot of things in 2 hours, but it's not you're not going to feel overwhelmed. You're going to have a good plan, moving forward. And again, I go bite size. It's not the grandioso. It's like, all right, let's break everything down into small, manageable pieces. Just like I said, researching stuff, and then we're gonna make it smaller and smaller. And so there's no pressure. We're going to kind of reflect on 2025. We're going to have a word for 2026. So we're going to kind of talk about that. We're going to talk about, maybe some of the things that you did achieve and how you achieved them and what you did. And then thinking about what you would like to do in 2026. And again, do not put the pressure of, I must achieve every single piece. You got to decide what's going to be the most important to you, and then you can work on number one, then what's going to be the next one, and then what's going to be in the next one. So you have a plan. So you're going to start off with number one and then go systematically. And then hopefully if we have time, we'll do kind of like a virtual kind of visual board type thing, just to kind of surmise everything. And also we do the release and receive, kind of what Desi talked about, how she did her burning circle. We kind of do that, kind of think about all the words that you want to release from 2025 and the words that you want to hear in 2026.
Is this live or virtual,
This
Michelle?
is going to be virtual,
Okay.
so anyone can attend wherever you are, listening internationally, domestically. So
You
yes, it's
just
all going to be virtual.
you just
And I
need to
love,
be
Michelle,
awake
that
and
you're
on
doing it
Zoom.
in February.
February
It
1st.
goes it goes to, again, to the whole thing, guys. You can start a goal anytime. It doesn't have to be January 1st. It could be February 1st. So
Because I think January is, to me, it's my thinking month. I
I
don't
love
put
that.
pressure on myself for I've got to hit my goals in January. No, we can, and February is my birthday month anyway, so it's kind of like February 1st. We can start goals in February 1st. So think about January as your thinking month and write things down of what you want to do and what you want to achieve, and then, maybe tweak it. Sorry, Des, you were also talking. What did you
I
say?
was not imparting any significant wisdom. That little
Whatever.
bird has already flown out of my brain. All right. Well, that's a wrap. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Until then, try not to be afraid of everything. And then we're
Yeah.
going to unpack hypervigilance.
Yes.
All right. See
Bye,
y'all in 2 weeks.
everybody.
Bye.
Ta-ta! Thanks for tuning in to Life Coaches Unfiltered. If you love this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, or follow us on social media. Got a question you've been afraid to ask? Send it our way at lifecoachesunfiltered@gmail.com. Until next time, keep growing, keep questioning, and stay unfiltered.